All right, well, let's get some more strong opinions and let's get political. Political. Okay, that was bad. I've been wanting to do that all week. So, Google has gotten political with Russia. And what they've done is the government of Russia has asked them to pull some videos of Putin's biggest critic. And they argued that they pulled it because it's campaigning. There's a law in Russia that says you're not allowed to campaign earlier than 24 hours before the election. I guess that's to save on money and bothering people with so much, or perhaps to help the guy who's in charge right now. But in any case, it's illegal. And so the government of Russia claimed that their biggest competitor, this was campaigning. Meanwhile, the individual, his last name is Navalny, he stated, look, I'm just doing these YouTube advertisements trying to get people out to protest against Putin's latest rising of retirement age. He's raising women's retirement age to 60 years old and men's to 65. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much on par with what we're seeing here in North America. But keep in mind, life expectancy in Russia is still only at 71.
Really?
So, yeah, it's significantly lower. So it's kind of like saying, okay, you're not allowed to retire until you're at 90% of your life expectancy. So what do you think? Do you think Google was right to side with the government and say, okay, this looks like he's campaigning, let's pull it? Or do you feel that with freedom of speech, you should be able to get on YouTube and call on your supporters to demonstrate an issue that you feel is relevant?
Absolutely. I think you should be able to call on supporters to help you out. It's fascinating, Matt, that they're only up to 71 years old.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Is it just the labor that they do, or is it the types of food that they're eating, or the lifestyle?
Yes. So I was surprised too. I actually thought it was more like 65. And the reason why I thought it was 65 is when I was living in Russia, that's actually where it was in the mid-90s. So I did some research on it, and you can see a graph where they actually went to their lowest since the 60s in the mid-90s. Understandably, that was when the government was collapsing and being replaced over and over again. It was a very politically unstable time. The mafia was running a lot of the show, and I could get into a lot of details of crazy things I saw with mafia there. But also there is a very unhealthy lifestyle. I don't know how many lard sandwiches I ate. Right? Like,
Chaladiets
is, now I can't even speak English. It's a delicacy. That's the English word I was looking for, right? It's basically meat jello with chunks of knuckle in it.
Sign me up.
That can't be healthy. So heart and stroke issues are a big part of the life expectancy in Russia. There's a lot of heavy smoking. If you look at the smoking percentages in Russia versus the West, North America by far is actually ahead of even Europe. I'll have to confirm that by doing some research, but just my personal experience walking around Europe versus North America, we just smoke less. Also, vodka is a huge deal in Russian culture. In fact, it's how you shake hands and do business. You drink 100 milliliters of vodka to seal a deal. Sure, they'll shake hands, but when you drink that 100 milliliters of vodka, you've agreed. That's your stamp on the document. So with the way that alcohol is ingrained in the culture and cigarettes and eating a lot of fatty foods, heart and stroke's a big issue. So
well, it's great to hear that at least they have some kind of a form of social security, though I wasn't aware that they did. And so you're saying that that's what they're waiting for is the payment from the government, right? Like you could just retire anytime if you wanted to, if you were rich enough over there, right?
So this is when you could start collecting your pension, and that's actually exactly what they call it. They don't call it old age. It's actually just called pension. And when you retire, you're called a pensioner. That's the direct translation of what it is. And it's a big deal because during the Soviet era, of course, all pensioners were taken care of. and it was a much earlier age. I believe it was in your early 50s, men maybe 55. I'll have to double check that. And then you could collect your pension. So it's a significant bump. And of course, Putin's critics are trying to rally and cause them some issues.